Ella ha asesorado a marcas tan importantes como Microsoft, IBM y Mastercard, así como a cientos de líderes empresariales en sus estrategias digitales. Forbes la nombró como una de las Top 10 Social Media Power Influencers, autora de varios bestsellers y una de las personas más retuiteadas del mundo entre los gurús del marketing digital. Su blog, kimgarst.com, es uno de los principales blogs de social media marketing a nivel global. Actualmente lidera una compañía de asesoría de marketing digital para empresas y marcas que buscan incrementar su audiencia y popularidad en el entorno digital. Futuristas, reciban a Kim Garst.
Conversations offline where you have that personal connection, whether that's inside of a messenger chat or inside of a DM if you're on Twitter, because a lot of people, if they're going to complain, they do it on Twitter. I don't know why, but that's just like if I get upset, I'm going to tweet you. But that's kind of the thing where you can really deal with that customer that's very concerned or very angry, depending on the situation, in a personalized way, and give them that personal attention. There's some argument for handling it openly and transparently so people can see that you do listen. I think there's a way to do both. I think you can acknowledge the complaint openly and then take the conversation offline to deal with the issue a little bit more intimately. I think the other thing goes back to that broadcasting to them instead of talking with them. I think it's really important that you understand that there are people on the other side of those computer screens, and we have to think of them, when we put the content out there, how can we ultimately engage with them and talk with them, not at them? And I think that's a missed opportunity that a lot of brands just totally, don't take advantage of. The other really, really important thing, and I've found this to be true over and over again as it relates to actually talking with people, use their name. It's like a way for you to see people, and they feel that they've been seen when you acknowledge them by name. And yet I see a lot of people, again, not doing this. And then, let's see, here we go. Monitor, obviously, and participate in any messaging that's around your brand. Guess what? Conversations are happening around your brand whether you're there or not. If you are paying attention, then you have an opportunity to step into those conversations, impact the conversation, direct the conversation, etc. And I think, going back to that, understanding that there are people on the other side of those computer screens, we need to genuinely care about them. They are our customers or future customers, and we need to make sure that we value them and love them up as much as we possibly can. If you are using a social media team, I think it's important to let people know that they're the name of that person. Who are they talking to? Lots of times I found that people actually ask, if they don't leave their name, they want to know. They want to know who they're talking to. Big moral to the message here is stop broadcasting and start having real conversations. It is, in my opinion, probably one of the most underutilized opportunities, especially today, because people are tired of the broadcast. They have information overload. The only way to truly stand out with our customers is to get down and talk with them and really start to understand the customer by having those real conversations. Social commerce or social e-com, essentially, this is where the money is. That's kind of what it is. How can you show up and have the ability to make a purchase from a social media platform without the customer having to go to your website? Can you do that? Oh, yeah, you can. And I think this has been the missing piece for a lot of business owners and brands is, how do they monetize this? How can this whole social media thing actually pay off? How many of you guys feel that the company you work for is always on you about ROI when it comes to social media? Anybody feel like they're constantly having to prove that social media is valuable? Well, the social e-commerce, I think, is just beginning to really be fleshed out to the degree that most businesses can embrace it and actually do it. In the past, some brands could take advantage of certain things, but it was always this tech piece where you had to figure it out and how are you going to do it? And now it's so much easier with pretty much every platform out there today. So, if social is impactful, and so I'm going to make the case that I think it is, roughly 3 out of 4 consumers rely on social networks to guide their purchase decisions. Now think about that for a second. What does that mean? That means basically that all of us here that buy things, the majority of us, we pay attention to what's happening in the social space. We take a look and see if other people are buying similar things. And that impacts our decision to purchase. And I think that's very impactful from a standpoint of, you need to be doing this. And the reason that social commerce, and I think this is why, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in a moment, but messaging apps is a quick example, is just going gangbusters. And the reason being, it goes back to consumer habits and how you can make it better. And I think that's where the disruption comes into the equation, is when you can see that a way to make the consumer's journey to purchasing better, that's what social commerce is all about. So it cuts the number of steps in the conversion process so that literally, with a click, they can purchase versus having to click, go to a website, click to review the page, where there's multiple steps in the buying process. So with social commerce, Pinterest really embraced this concept earlier than any of the other social platforms. So they had obviously the promoted, or kind of the post there, where the buy it post, where all you had to do was click on the buy it now button, and voila, guess what? You just had to do something real simple. You see something on Pinterest, you decide you're going to pay, you pay with your credit card, or you pay with Apple Pay. And it's a very streamlined process. There's no going to a website. It's literally just click, put in your information, and now you've ordered that particular item. And we're seeing the same thing with Facebook stores, and even Marketplace is another opportunity to show up and have commerce. Marketplace is fascinating to me just as a regular person, simply because, let's say do you guys do yard sales here? I don't know, but stuff that you just have around the house that you don't want anymore. So you can literally put that kind of stuff on Marketplace, sell it, and not have any fees associated with that, which I think is just amazing. So, and I've seen some brands embrace the concept even of Marketplace, where they're putting some of their products on there as another opportunity, another touch point to be found. I haven't researched that enough to give you any case studies on it, but like I say, it's another touch point. Twitter is also embraced the concept of purchasing through literally on the platform. You can now post an item and have people buy it there on Twitter. So a couple of Twitter ideas. I mean, obviously on any of these platforms you could do this, but Twitter only sales, maybe you host a flash sale if you have products, physical products, and obviously if you do a product release, or even if you have some sort of a lot of what I'm sharing now does involve physical products. So if your brand does have a physical product, these things will be very applicable. And it's obviously an opportunity. I see a lot of brands, mostly personal brands, that have huge following, are embracing physical products, because just going back to, you build a community of people who are, are like-minded around you or whatever, and then those people are interested in a variety of things, not just why they're initially connected to us. They purchase all kinds of things. So I'm seeing, like I say, I'm seeing a lot of brands embrace the concept of, putting product lines that make sense in front of their communities. Instagram is the newest platform to embrace the shoppable opportunity right within a platform. Has anyone purchased anything using a shoppable post on Instagram? I'm just curious. Yes, I'm seeing some hands. Yes, good. I think this is fascinating simply because Instagram is so visual, very similar to Pinterest in that respect from a product line standpoint. And the ability to basically have an overlay on a product inside of Pinterest is just such an amazing and missing component to Instagram. For years, we've complained about Instagram because we couldn't use it to drive traffic. Now this is it's almost a bypass, because you don't necessarily have to send them to a web page in order for them to purchase, which is kind of clever. So I want to share some quick stats. That word didn't want to come out. Some quick stats with you. Instagram it has the highest average order, $65 US, compared to the other, the other biggies, Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. Now, interestingly enough, Pinterest held that title until Instagram came along, and the average order on Pinterest was about $50. So it's definitely bumped up, and Instagram is now the #1 place where people are, the highest dollar price point anyway, where people are purchasing things. And Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube are the only major social platforms with a conversion rate of over 1%. And one of the things I find fascinating even is the fact that YouTube actually does drive sales, which is pretty interesting. 2/3 of all social media visits to Shopify. Yeah, get this. 2/3 of all social media visits to Shopify stores originate from Facebook. So Facebook is still the big elephant. That said, though, I will say this. Most Shopify owners understand the power of a Facebook ad. So many of them are using Facebook ads to drive traffic to their Shopify store. So that might slant things a little bit. Obviously, you can use Instagram ads as well. So it's going to be fascinating to watch this, this flesh out to see, will Instagram ultimately drive more traffic than Facebook? But right now, Facebook is the winner. Messenger marketing. So right now, how many of you guys are following any brands through Facebook Messenger? Okay, a couple. I see a couple of hands. Do you feel like it's super invasive right now? Do you feel like, you're getting too many messages? I think this is such an interesting and fascinating space, and one that is, even the numbers are showcasing that this is going to be a huge, huge opportunity. So obviously the big 4 messaging apps, WeChat, Facebook Messenger, I don't even know off the top of my head, but there's like the 4 biggies are surpassing the social media network usage. Now, the numbers are not hugely surpassing it yet, but they're definitely on the upward swing, and I think we're going to see more and more growth in this area. And I'm going to share a couple of things as it relates to what's happening in other places as well to make my point. So obviously, text messaging dominated the early days of mobile communication. We still use text messaging a lot, especially millennials. I see, and in fact, one of the conversations I think Bonin was saying earlier about, you know, the millennials communicating and not being able to communicate in person because they're so used to texting or other types of communication. I've actually seen my son and his wife sit on the same sofa and communicate via text messaging. Yes. So it's you know, you may say, well, it's a problem. It's a convenience for sure for most of us, but I think that it can also be a problem from a relationship standpoint. Lots of times you say things via text that you wouldn't say to someone's face, for example. I mean, I just don't understand how somebody can quit a job via text message. That makes no sense to me, but it absolutely does happen these days. So text messaging, it has obviously messenger apps have its roots in text messaging. Chat apps, I think, are mobile's sleeping giant. I think we're going to, like I say, see more and more opportunity in this space. What I find fascinating about this is the fact that it's outperforming email at like ridiculous rates. As a quick example, if most of us, if we are using email as a medium to connect to our buyers or our communities, the average open rate is probably in the 20% rate. And that's if we're lucky, you know. With chatbot communication, messenger communication, the open rates are averaging over 80%. Now think about that for a second. My open rate for my chatbots are 98% compared to, you know, much less for my email. So it's an incredible opportunity, and it's not crowded at all at this point in time. It's definitely outperforming direct mail, social media even. Again, I think part of that is just the fact that we want to talk to people these days. You know, we want to be seen. And yes, it's definitely outperforming skywriting. If anybody's still using skywriting, that's just a joke, a bad one, but a joke. So I have a quick prediction. Messenger marketing, I think, has the capability of becoming the world's single biggest marketing channel in the next 5 to 7 years. And I think I don't think, honestly, it's already being proven. So let me share with you what I mean by that. China is being totally dominated from a commerce standpoint by a mobile app. WeChat is providing all kinds of ways for people to connect and pay using the WeChat app. So what I mean by that is people are booking hair appointments. They are ordering their butcher ordering from their butcher down the street and then paying for it and going and picking it up. I mean, just fascinating commerce opportunities are happening in the WeChat market, mostly in China. And take a look at these stats, and I know it's probably a little bit blurry. You know, anytime you enlarge something with this much text on it, it can get a little blurry. But the point being, Apple Pay is really struggling in China. And obviously, you know, these payment processors, that's where a lot of money is also made. Apple has, you know, kind of been the forerunner here in some cases as it relates to these types of transactions. But they're failing abysmally in China, whereas you can see here the adoption rate is like 93% as it relates to, you know, Beijing and Shanghai, where people are literally using the WeChat app for tons of things that even us as consumers can't even envision yet, simply because it hasn't came our way yet. You know, we haven't seen it in action. So my prediction is that this is going to continually evolve in other countries to where we will, in fact, embrace this. So, you know, going back to proving the unknown, you know, and embracing the unknown, you know, I'm looking back on it when Zappos, everybody familiar with Zappos as a brand? When they first rolled out, I was like, yeah, that's not going to work. What woman is going to, you know, buy a pair of shoes sight unseen? But it did, it worked. What about Uber? You know, Uber, what? We'd get in a car with somebody we don't even know? And yes. What about Airbnb, where you just, you know, rent someone's home? You stay in someone's home that you don't know? But all of those are disruptive ideas that on the face of it would not have had a chance. And yet somebody took a chance, and now they're integrated in a part of culture in a lot of countries. So it's fascinating that if we have the courage to step into some of these unknown spaces that maybe, you know, you don't have proof yet, although I would argue that we have proof around the messenger marketing simply because it's working so effectively in China. And a couple of ways that brands are using messenger marketing, you know, whether it's just to build community and support that community. Gatorade is running a campaign where, you know, it's just about connecting and engaging with their community around the football season starting. Another example that I love is because this is so directly related to commerce, you know, where you're actually getting people to, you know, Marriott is actually getting people to book their rooms directly within the Facebook Messenger app itself. Those are all opportunities for to give a better customer service, help them have a personalized journey, because it's all, guess what? Automated. It's all automated with a lot of, you know, obviously back and forth. You know, this whole, you know, if this, then that scenario. Oh, okay, if they say this, then I need to respond like that. But the concept of it is just fascinating because the customer feels like they are, one, you're reading their mind because you're answering their questions in real time in lots of cases, and then giving them the opportunity to either research or book a room, etc. So Marriott's doing a really great job with their chatbots. This is a very unique and fascinating way, and I really wanted to bring it to your attention because, again, we don't always have to do what others do. We can take a concept and apply some creativity to it, and then lead to something bigger. So this particular app was designed by a mattress company. And one of the struggles that a lot of people obviously struggle with is sleep insomnia. So they built a chat app around talking to people when they couldn't sleep. And through the normal conversation because obviously it's all automated. There's not somebody there physically responding to everyone, but they did do a lot of, you know, AI invention around this where, you know, if somebody says this, then this is a normal response to that. But through that conversation, you know, they talk to people and then, hey, looks like you need a new mattress. So they give that experience, that personal connection, basically make people feel like, wow, you can see me, I'm here, and you understand my problem. And you're right, maybe I do need a new mattress. So they've done some, I think this is a very innovative and clever way to leverage the power of messenger apps. Now, I'm gonna some of this crosses over. That's why I've kind of lumped it together, even though they're very different things. Virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality. And in some cases, like I say, they do overlap, and there's a combination of pieces that come into play. Even with the Messenger app, you'll find that some of these absolutely tie in and have application. I'm going to show you what I mean by that in a moment. I'm going to make a big, bold statement here. Immersive content is the future of content marketing, in my humble opinion. Simply because people want to feel a part of something. I think they're super tired and overexposed to all the same old stuff. So anytime things like this show up that is unique and different and make them feel like they're involved in something bigger than themselves, I think it's a win. So I personally think that immersive content is going to hold a big, big place for all of us as marketers in the near future. Actually, it's already here. I can't even say in the near future. It is definitely needs our attention, in my opinion. If you're not already leveraging the power of immersive content, I would encourage you to at least explore it and see where you can step into it. So immersive content has really one big thing in common, and that is that it gives the consumer, the customer, the client, a very personalized experience or a very personalized journey. And I think that goes back to people need to feel like they're valued today. You know, we've broadcast to them for so long, they just have begun to feel very unseen, maybe, invisible, and they really want to feel like they can connect and have a voice in the buying experience. And so I think that's one of the reasons that this whole, you know, immersive content experience is really being embraced by a lot of consumers, especially younger consumers. And again, maybe that's just because they're a little bit more adventuresome than some older consumers, but it's definitely an opportunity, I think, for us. And, you know, we can take a look at things like Amazon Echo. How many have an Amazon Echo? Okay. So Amazon Echo, I'm afraid of it. I'll tell you, I'm like, they're going to record me. They're going to order stuff when I say order it. They're going to turn off my lights. I don't know, it just weirds me out a little bit. So I have an Amazon Echo, and it's never been out of the box because, I don't know, it's just one of those things I'm like, I don't know. But it's fascinating to see how Amazon Echo has evolved. And at a you know, kind of a baseline, it's kind of like one of those things where AI is in our living room, you know, because it does learn from us. It learns our habits. It, you know, it's, like I say, it's fascinating that this little box is kind of like an AI robot of sorts, right in our living rooms or our bedrooms or wherever we put it. Hopefully this plays. Let's see if we can get that video, because this is a video. Hopefully somebody can click the little button and it'll play, because this is fascinating as well. Give it a minute here. Are we able to make the video play, guys? Here we go. Okay, so who thinks that's like amazing? Like, it's better than any menu, right? Like, you can like look at it, you can put multiple things on it, order. And what I found interesting about that is the way the social proof is built in, where, you know, you get the snap code, you snap it, and guess what? Now everybody else is sharing it. So the point being is, this is where we're going, guys, where we're going to see more and more opportunities for AR to show up in just everyday life. We're already seeing it, in fact, and I just ran across this and I thought it was fascinating, but there's a company out there called Rift, and they're actually selling ad space to the tune of millions of dollars by placing augmented products, brand products inside of movies. So the movie's already shot, and now they're selling, you know, specific things that would make sense to place inside of a setting. You know, obviously, you know, if there's a movie and, you know, they're not going to put a Pepsi bottle in front of someone's face. But point being is they're selectively placing brand advertising opportunities inside of movies. And it's all augmented. It's not a part of the original video shoot, which I think is a fascinating space in and of itself. And what a wonderful way to drive revenue and ultimately give brands an opportunity to get in front of an audience that they may never have had an opportunity to get in front of. So I think that's a fascinating twist. And this is my friend Kathy Hackle, and Kathy is a VR AI expert. And she said something recently that really struck home for me, and that is the whole mobile space and how augmented reality is going to be so tied to our cameras. And I'm going to give you a quick example of that here. I think this is Victoria Beckham. Who likes Victoria Beckham? Anybody? So this is happening inside of the Messenger app. So she, I wish I could rewind it, so I should have like explained this. But essentially, she is trying on Victoria's latest sunglasses literally inside of Facebook Messenger via her phone. Is that not like amazing? So just think about it. I want to paint a bigger picture. Is it going to be our clothes, ultimately, where we'll have a body scan and we'll be able to try clothes on? I mean, probably. So think of the possibilities of where this is going to take us. Another big thing, and I think a lot of us from a virtual reality standpoint, we immediately go to the gaming world, right? VR is huge in the gaming world. But come on, let's laugh for a second. VR gaming does have its flaws. I think a lot of people get totally lost in the whole experience, and Lord knows what happens. This is an example of Facebook Spaces. Facebook Spaces, I think, has such an immense an immediate opportunity for literally any brand. And it could be used in a lot of different scenarios. It could be used as an educational tool, which is one of my favorite ways when I describe it. You know, you could have classrooms where people come in through Facebook Spaces, interact, engage, have instructors sharing value-based content. So I'm a huge, huge fan of that. Live video, I'm going to speed up just a little bit here. I think live video is disrupting television in a major, major way. It's the cable TV of the future. 80% prefer watching live video from a brand over reading a blog post. Think about that and let that sink in for a second. And 82% prefer live video over any other type of social media post. Again, that's a pretty interesting stat. They get watched 3 times longer and get 10 times the comments that a traditional post would get. So bottom line, Facebook Live or any live video is incredibly, incredibly powerful, impactful for us as brands. Okay.
This is part of my birthday joy, still rejoicing in my birthday. And so here's what I got. I'm going to take it out of the box, and I can't wait to show you. Okay, I'm in a parking lot, and people are literally looking at me like crazy. I don't even care.
How many have seen this?
So here it is.
Most everybody. We'll watch it just for a
tight.
second.
It may be
Just because.
tight on me. I got to undo it just a little bit. Hold on. Stay patient, people. Stay patient. This is going to be worth it. I promise. Maybe not, but it's worth it to me. And I had to share with my friends on the internet webs. So here's what, I'm having trouble getting it. Okay, patient. All right, we're doing good. Okay, so this is what I got. Once again, this is for me, not for Duncan, not for Cadence. I mean, I'll let them play with it. I'm not a bad mom.
Since most of you guys have seen this, I won't, and we're running close on time, I want to play the entire clip. Point being is that live video is about authenticity. It's about showing up and being okay with, if your hair is not right, your nose may be shiny, or one of my favorite, I actually had lights fall on me during one of my live videos one time, and it was probably my most impactful live experience, simply because people totally related to it. They were like, "Oh, if that can happen to Kim, that can, I'm cool with that. I can so do that." So the point being is that authenticity drives, again, in my opinion, successful connection with a community. It's super huge. So you can go all the way from just like, things like that to a formal show. And I think we're going to see more and more. In fact, we already are seeing more formal shows. My friend Mario Armstrong started a Facebook Live that was ultimately picked up by the networks. And so now his Never Settle show is not just a Facebook Live show, but it's actually going to be televised, which is, again, a huge opportunity for him. So quick predictions here, and I'm just going to go through these real quick because I know we're under a time crunch here. But I think we're going to see more high-quality live video because there's so many amazing automated tools today where it doesn't have to be a hardship for the brand to produce content. I think we're going to see more viewer searchability. That's certainly a problem on Facebook. It's hard to find good content. I think that's one of the reasons we're seeing Facebook launch Facebook Watch and some other opportunities for content to be found. Live interactivity, more people are going to consume this content, hence the engagement's going to pick up. VR and 360, I think, are ultimately going to, not only are they already tied into a lot of these tools, but we're going to see more opportunity for that content to really stand out. Lower latencies, these are kind of just tech things here on the end, but they're important because there are currently issues, and I think that this is going to shift, and better connectivity will be available to us, and the quality of the streams are going to be better as well. Apple, I think, is really pushing higher quality video, the capability for social platforms to show up and have that capability as well. So these are things I think that are coming. Internet's going to catch up with TV. It's already at this, just passing each other in the night right now, but ultimately I think it's really going to come down to three things: content, quality content, access, and personal experience. And the best showcase of that from an example standpoint is Netflix. So think about it. It's a huge library of quality content. We can access it from any device, and it's a personalized feed. So whatever we want to watch in the moment, we can watch. We can binge watch, etc. I think that's an opportunity for live video as well, is to create content that people can ultimately binge watch. So internet consumption will continue to edge out TV as a medium for news and entertainment, and stats are already proving this. People are getting their news directly from the social networks. And just take a look at this for a second. Will this happen? What do you think? I think this is what we're looking at in the future. Now, this particular photo is a self-driving car, so don't panic that, you know, they're showing this as a future opportunity and you're driving down the road watching, you know, Netflix or something. But I really do believe that, you know, we have to think big. You know, what's the possibilities of where we're going in the social media space? I think this is definitely one of them. Rise of regulation. I mean, we all hate rules, right? GDPR is something that was just been a huge topic in the U.S. in particular. We really focused in on that. Obviously, it's a global thing that a lot of us have to be concerned about now. We also have, you know, things like Facebook being called in front of Congress to testify about, you know, what's going on with their privacy stuff, right? And of course, you know, freedom of expression, should government regulate it? Ultimately, is that going to happen? Will it be forced? It's already happening, in my opinion. So, all right, who can say this word? Inferral content. I actually had to Google it. Yes, I did. Inferral content. What is inferral content? It's basically temporary content. Temporary content like Instagram stories, Snapchat stories, or Snapchat, Facebook stories. And this is huge right now. It's authentic. A lot of people are drawn to it because of that authenticity. They're also drawn to it because they're afraid they're going to miss out on something. So there's that opportunity to get content that's, again, temporary. If they don't grab it now, they can't, like, you know, go back and pay attention to it later. So it's that fear of missing out. And then I think this is a great example.
Please join the IMF team and complete exclusive missions by heading to Mission Impossible's Snapchat channel, Mission Moon. Today's mission is to go out and find Rogue Nation posters, shoot a picture of it, write your hometown name on it, then send it to us. Take a video and send it to us of you running, like Ethan Hunt. Today's mission, if you choose to accept it, is to draw your own version of the Mission Impossible logo. This message will now self-destruct.
This was an amazing campaign. And if you think about it, it was so perfect for their brand as well, right? You know, disappearing content. So it generated tons of user-generated content. The engagement with the brand was phenomenal. A huge, huge win for the whole Mission Impossible franchise. So 65 million impressions. Anyway, I won't, going just real quick on how you can leverage the power of this temporary content. You can use it to generate leads or drive traffic, which is also another fantastic way to have that ROI that brands are always after. And then, of course, storytelling is such a huge, huge part of those, you know, stories across the board. I think it's so huge, but it's such a perfect platform for sharing moments in time, in my opinion. And obviously, please connect with me. You can find me pretty much anywhere on the internet under my username, Kim Garst. And I think we're going to do just a quick Q&A, but I want to say one thing real quick before we do. I want to challenge you to really step into new opportunities, learn them, implement them, and then, you know, you also learn through that process what does work for you, what doesn't work, and then you can do it better the next time around. But don't shy away from the unknown. Step into them, and ultimately, you know, bring those things, whether it's your business or you work at a brand, for a brand, you know, show up, do the amazing things, and I'm positive that you're going to reap the benefits of it. Thank you for your time.
Fuerte el aplauso, magnífica presentación, definitivamente. Was beautiful. Ok, señores, hoy día, pues las personas, ustedes saben que hacen lo posible, desde lo positivo hasta lo ridículo, para hacerse notar en la social media, ¿no? Todo el mundo quiere ser un trendy topic. Y hoy las redes sociales tenemos que estar conscientes que es una realidad. Así que hoy con nosotros nos van a estar platicando de toda esta onda a nivel mundial que está pasando en las redes sociales. Y una vez más, pues nos acompaña en escenario Raúl Vaz para pues moderar este segmento y preguntas y respuestas. Así que yo quiero que cada uno de ustedes aproveche para que mande sus preguntas, sus comentarios al hashtag #FOAKimGarst. Así que aprovechen que es el momento de preguntar.
Bueno, ya estamos aquí de vuelta y de las muchas cosas que he logrado ver en las redes sociales, no solamente el día de hoy en este evento, sino también en las comunidades en donde se habla de branding, de marketing, de temas de influencers, siempre hay como una serie de temáticas, una serie de dudas que a todos nos surgen. Todos creemos saber de temas de influencer marketing, todos tenemos teorías, pero la verdad es que no sabemos nada, o sea, sabemos muy poco. Y el resultado de ello lo vemos en las redes. Entonces, una de las cosas que le quiero preguntar a Kim es al respecto de esto, cómo justamente poder comenzar con una estrategia de influencer marketing que funcione, pero sobre todo cómo hacerle para depurar, para filtrar a los inservibles que se hacen llamar influencers con los que verdaderamente generan influencia, que es lo que estamos buscando. As you showed us earlier in your presentation, influencer marketing delivers 11 times higher return on investment than traditional forms of digital marketing. One of the, I mean, this is obviously true, and it's obviously, it's there, but this has generated a lot of problems. That since it's a very good business, now everybody wants to be an influencer.
Yes.
And everybody calls themselves influencers, and they just haven't realized that being an influencer is a result of being good at something and having the ability to teach, to show other people using social media. So one of the biggest, I would say, things that companies have to figure out is who to choose as an influencer. We live in a part of the world where there's a lot of people that are considered influencers, but they actually don't influence in anything. The only thing they have is a lot of followers, so, but that's not an influencer, as you know. So how can a company, a brand, from scratch, start with an influencer marketing strategy or create an influencer using the right influencers? How to know who the right influencers are and not just somebody with a lot of followers, which there are a lot of these days?
Well, that's a huge problem because you can buy followers, right? An influencer, in my opinion, is somebody who derives action. You know, somebody who can impact a decision, ultimately a buying decision in most cases. If you're wanting to do an influencer campaign, in lots of cases it is tied to a sale, you know, where you're wanting someone to share your product or your service and ultimately get them to purchase from that business or that brand. And that, to your point, you know, somebody with a ton of followers doesn't always truly have influence, meaning they don't drive their community to take action. And I would suggest that the way you find somebody that does is to really pay attention. And it's not that hard. You know, if you identify an influencer that you think has a community of your ideal client or your ideal customers, then watch, take a look at their social presences. When they put something out into the interwebs, to use Candace's word, then what happens? Do people actually pay attention? Do people engage with their content? What kind of comments are they saying? So, you know, if you're evaluating an influencer, then evaluate them. Don't take their followership as an indicator of their influence. Do your homework. Really take a look into their social presences and see how connected their community is actually to them, and that'll be a really good indicator whether or not that person does truly have influence.
I think what you're saying is pretty logic, but most companies sincerely aren't doing that. They're not
I know.
doing their homework, and actually people are that shouldn't be wealthy are becoming very wealthy for all the wrong reasons.
Yes.
So, Kim, we really appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Señores, un aplauso por favor a Kim.
Thank you.
And
Gracias.
please follow up on social media. If there's questions that you might like to
Absolutely.
answer, please do that.
Absolutely. Thank you all.